Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aqueduct. Saturday afternoon of racing is coming up. The track is rated as good. Here are today's early scratches and changes. Race 1 is the start of the early pick 5. It's clear, no changes in today's first. Race 2, start of the early pick 4. Scratch the 4, Flashy Alex. Race 3 is the start of the middle pick 4. Scratch the 1A, Breaking Stones. Scratch the 3, Big Brown Shoes. Scratch the 5, Dangerous Edge. Scratch the 1A, 3 and 5 in today's third. Race 4 is the start of the pick 6. Scratch the 7, Jay's Talker. Scratch the 7, Jay's Talker in today's fourth. Race 5 is the start of the late pick 5. No changes in today's fifth. Race 5 is clear. Race 6, start of the late pick 4. Scratch the 7, Kill Britain's Red. Kill Britain's Red is scratched in today's sixth race. Race 7 is clear. No changes in today's seventh. Race 8 is clear. No changes in today's eighth race. And in race 9, scratch the 1, Mauritius. Scratch the 6, Chowda. Scratch the 1 and the 6 in today's ninth. The track is good. 9 races on today's card. And up next, we'll be talking horses with your hosts, Andy Serling and the Big A, Anthony Stabile.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Saturday, 9-race card today featuring Lou Busanda. Busanda must have points for the Kentucky Oaks.
I believe so.
You can consider it a real Kentucky Oaks prep. 10 years ago, Princess Silmar won the Busanda
Yes,
on her
she
way
did.
to winning the Kentucky Oaks.
Somebody else earned some points on this road recently.
Okay. But did they win it?
I'm trying to figure it out.
Anyhow, we got a lot to talk about, 9 races to talk about. You need to head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code MATCH200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have the middle pick 4 today, race number 3. Pick 4 is in races 2, 3, and 6. We also have a bonus with Tampa, Aqueduct, and Oaklawn. All of those will be shown, by the way, in America's Day at the Races. $50 each on that. I got to sign up for that. I usually find a way to blow about $50 a day at Oaklawn, and you're $15. Opt in over at Naira Bets. It's actually 2 interesting maiden races in the turf at Tampa, and one of them has virtually nothing, and the other one is loaded up with pedigree. So Clement has a full Plum Ali debuting the last race. 2:30 to 6 on FS2, covering all that action, as we said. Oaklawn, Tampa, occasions at Tampa in the freezing cold. It's slightly warmer there than it is here.
Lockdown ran 3rd in the Kentucky Oaks.
And Lockdown did what in the Kentucky?
She won the
Oh,
Busanda.
yeah. Oh, she did. Did she even run much again? She was a Juddmonte horse, right?
She finished.
Belmont, right?
She was half the closed hatches.
Yeah.
She
ran-
stumbled. She stumbled in the Mother Goose and got beat like a length.
I barely remember her, but that's a good one. Yeah, she looked like she'd be okay. Anyway, race number 1. What'd you do in race number 1?
I went to the Quattro. Follow the Fed. First time Lasix, as most of these 3-year-olds are. Rudy Rodriguez for this horse ran on a sloppy track last time. The fast track race too big. We started out as good today, but we got plenty of wind out there, so I would imagine this track is closer to fast than anything else. Finished a good second, I thought. Rosie Diamonds is the favorite, 2 starts back. Came back on a sloppy track 2 weeks later. Now gets a month between starts, almost a month. Back to the fast ground. Source is running against a turf horse essentially in the 1, a turf horse in the 3, a horse that probably ran better on the turf in the 6. So I went to Rudy and the 4 followed.
I saw it differently than you. I thought the figure for the last race, this race at 6.5 furlongs, 2 races back, is probably a little on the high side, and I think that she's probably more reliable to be a 27 type buyer horse, which doesn't make her any better than anybody. I put her 3rd. I prefer the 6 in here, Caribbean Breeze, who ran against legitimate horses first time out and actually didn't run that badly. Dropped out badly under a little bit of a ride and just sort of made a little bit of a run. Ran a little bit at the end, a little bit green in there, better horses. I'll take Caribbean Breeze, who ran the turf the second start, getting back to the dirt in race number 1. I also thought the 1, not impossible in here, Burnt Again, horse could be forward. And as you say, the track obviously dried out as it expected to be from yesterday. We did see a track yesterday which made it very, very difficult to make up ground. And I think the results yesterday were very, very much affected by the racetrack the more I looked at the races and the results. Race number 2. Horse who should be in front is Playing with Matches, who last time out just met better horses, didn't run that badly, and last time out in the $500,000 New York Stallion Series. Time before that, won. But the rail is good, and I think the track was relatively fair this day, but I think the rail and speed did pretty well. This horse is running faster races, is the favorite, the horse to beat. I didn't try to beat her, and neither did him, and neither did you.
No, got involved in a fast pace last time, tired late. Stretches out to the mile, should not be a problem, though, as this pace should not develop.
Well, he set the pace last time. He didn't get involved. I mean, he was setting the pace. He wasn't.
Yeah, he just should be in front of these. And another horse where, Mullingar's a little bit faster on the turf, and he's probably the second best horse in the race, but he's probably better on the turf.
Playing with Matches has been faster than these and looks like the controlling speed makes him the worst to beat. It'll be a short price. We'll show Mullingar's last race. I know that the fig came back low. It's interesting. You look at the horse who ran second in there, it was Outlaw Country, who's in here as well. Outlaw Country improved 18 buyer points the next time out. That figure, another 6.5 furlong race. Well, I mean, you look at some of the other horses in the race, and the figure doesn't hold up to careful scrutiny. So I'm a little bit skeptical about that. But it obviously suggests that Mullingar's race could have been better than it was.
Right.
It was a very weak field that Mullingar beat. I was surprised he was even money. I thought he'd be 3 to 5 in there. The horse that I'm not a big fan of is the one on the bottom, coming in for Brittany Russell. She just doesn't have the same kind of success in New York that she does down there. And I thought this horse is kind of phony to begin with.
See, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but for me, with her, it's been a tale of distance. I think her 2 distance races have been better. Now, whether she could bring the form here, period, from there, I just think this horse has been better with a little bit more ground.
I didn't like her. You think have her second. Race number 3. There's a heavy favorite in race number 3, an Awesome Native. We'll take a look at this horse for Jorge Abreu, and Jorge deserves a lot of credit for convincing that owner that what's his name? The horse who won yesterday is a dirt
Ferroni
horse.
stable.
What was the horse? Who's the horse that won the
King
last-
Angelo.
King Angelo. A horse that we've known all along was a dirt horse, or I've known all along was a dirt horse, and they finally get that horse. They just wasted 2 years of his career running on the wrong surface, but he's headed in the right direction now, and we'll see him in the winner's circle again, if not more than once. Probably going to win this race. It's a pleated race, going to be a wild short price. I'll show you that TT has great numbers off of maiden wins. His numbers, it's funny, I was looking up his numbers. Second time starters, debut winners, we needed a new picture. That is an old picture of him, Jesus, isn't it? That picture looks like it's like 15 years old.
No, I think he looks exactly the same.
Maybe it's just the angle. Maybe it's just the maybe
Yes,
it's just
that's
maybe the lighting.
the light. Adam took that picture. Adam probably took that picture. Not Chelsea.
He's only 2 for 10 with second-time starters, but if you look through it, only 4 of them were short, and 2 were sort of mid-price. So he kind of won with half the ones he was supposed to win with. So he'll probably come back and win, but it was a sealed track last time out, and I don't want to put him on top. I don't trust 42 Ace. I really don't. Obviously, he was awful last time. I'm not going to defend him. He's supposed to be better. He's also worse than at times better with moisture, but he's also run well in fast tracks before. He's supposed to be in front in this race. I'm going to hope he just goes to the lead and he can beat him. He's the only one I could possibly use to try to beat Awesome Native with the scratch of Dangerous Edge.
Yeah, he's just too unreliable for me, 42 Ace. I thought
His last race was bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to argue about it.
I put the entry second. I thought Major Spin. Getting back with New York Bred for the first time since Saratoga, back with New York Bred for the first time since July on the turf, on the dirt rather. And he ran against Woohoo, That's Me, Unique Unions.
About his last race, it was atrocious last time.
Yeah, the last race was good. His last 2 races were on wet tracks. The
So
race
what? He
2
ran
back
very well
was
too
okay. Yeah.
Okay, one of the best races he ever ran.
Yeah. Well, the best race he ever ran was the Bezos race.
You can't use the wet track because he ran very, very well on it too.
But there were 3 different wet tracks. The best race he's ran on the dirt was the Bezos race.
He ran terribly last time, Major Spin. You can dress it up any way you want. He was terrible last time. I don't disagree that he's not impossible in here.
See, I think
but his
he's the
last was
speed.
bad.
I think he'll be in front of 42 Ace.
Good luck with that. Okay, we'll see what happens in race number 3. Race number 4. Race number 4, a bit of a skull buster. Got a big scratch here when the number 7 came out. For me, I was playing against him. Talk about your top choice.
Yeah, I put him third too. You know, I went to the horses who I think are going to control the pace in here, and I'm curious to see just how aggressive Andre Wary is with Regality.
How's he not in front?
Well, he's supposed to be in front. I wonder the rider change to Don't Be Late and Kendrick if he's not with a little position inside of him going the 2 turns. If he doesn't try to hold position and try to get in front of him.
And Regality's got a big problem if Don't Be Late gets in front of him. Got a big problem.
I don't think he's that much faster. I don't think Regality is that much faster. And if you take rider and intent into consideration here, I think there's a chance he can.
Kendrick sends everything?
Yeah, I think, no. But I think if you think being forward is a positive in here. And
well, I don't know that it's a positive in there.
You don't think it's a positive against these horses? I think if you can get in front and control in here, it's a big positive, and I think Kendrick's going to realize that. And I think Kendrick's
I don't think that way, so you're
okay.
the wrong
I do. And I think that he can get in front of Regality. I almost put him on top. Regality is supposed to be in front of him, and Regality will be a bigger price because, again, you're going to see this horse take more.
I'm confused by this conversation. You like Regality's speed, but you don't think he'll have the lead. But you picked him.
He's supposed to be in front of him, and the fact that one horse is going to be 5-1, and the other horse is going to be
Regality's
5-2.
Not going to be 5-1. Regality's going to be around 7-2 to 3-1. And Don't Be Late's going to be around 5-2 to 2-1.
Well,
I assume the morning line's
he was sick. He was the favorite, and he was 5-2 favorite. And the fact that they're going to see the rider change from Harkey to Kendrick Carmouche, this horse is going to take more money, like the horse did yesterday. So I put the bigger price on top, but I'm using both of them equally in the multi-race wagers.
Okay. I think the reason to like Regality is I think that his last race is going to make him look worse than he is because he was probably on a bad inside last time at Paris. And I think one of the reasons to like him is he looks a lot worse than he is because of where he was in the racetrack last time out. So I think that makes him a more interesting horse in here, and I don't think he's impossible. I do think he's the speed. We'll see how it plays out. I don't really care that much about that. I don't love Voliero. We'll show his race 2 races back. The reality is that Rushing to Win is bad. Horses he's running against here, the horse who beat him was a very logical horse that won this race. And listen, this is more of a turf horse. He had no chance last time out against the horses he was running
No.
against. Randy does do okay off the claim. His horses have been running pretty well. I don't like anybody in here. I don't trust anyone to get the distance, and I'm just going to take a shot. This horse getting back in with the horse he ran up against this race, and I think this race where he beat Forever Wicked, who I certainly think would be a player in here.
Sure.
I'm going to take a shot with him on top. I don't love him in here, but I didn't like anybody. I prefer him over Regality, who I think is okay, but I don't really trust him. I don't think Jade's Dream's impossible either. I don't know exactly what to do with him, but he has run well going long before, and he's just not impossible. I don't know. I didn't think he ran that well last time. He didn't have a great start. He was shut off, but it didn't really hurt him in there. He got a very good ride thereafter. He picks up Dylan, but I thought Jason rode him well last time, so I don't really care that much about Dylan pick him up. Obviously, Dylan's a tremendous rider and a better rider, but I thought the kid rode him well last time.
Yeah, no, Jason did nothing wrong last time.
Race number 5, 7 furlongs on the dirt, and you have the first-time starter power and numbers on top.
Yeah, son of Gervin, who got off to a great start. Dan was 3 for 14. Just 3 for 14. Bullet work out of the gate over the training track at Bell. That's a fast work, folks. Bullet from 123. Fast work. This horse has some decent works throughout his card. They paid $200,000.
You're repeating the PPs. You do realize that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want anything to do really with any of the runners in here except Venge, who there was a push on first time out, and he kind of ran in spots after getting away slowly from the gate. I really don't want Clubhouse. And that was it. I thought it was 2s and 5s. You have them in reverse order.
Yeah, Power Numbers was entered on Cigar Mile Day and was a vet scratch. I'm not exactly sure why he was scratched that day. Obviously, it was nothing major as he comes back just about a little over a month later. The horse that actually has the pedigree here is the horse on the rail right up. I know Linda's been with a lot of first-time starters. This horse after Palm Cottage, who's not a bad horse for OXO, as well as some others. 4 of the 5 foals from the Dam right up actually were pretty good. Very solid runners.
Dam was good.
Linda doesn't win a lot of races with first-time starters, but that horse has pedigree. I'm going to settle more for ones that ran. I don't know what went wrong with Clubhouse last time. I don't want to hear this BS about it being a sloppy sealed track because it didn't seem at any point he wasn't handling, and I wanted to show the start of the race so you can see what Venge does. Venge causes his own problems. He breaks in at the start, and it just kind of got him shuffled out of the race. I don't think he ran that badly considering how the race was run. The race was dominated up front. He took himself, as you can see, badly out of the race if we can roll it to the top of the stretch. He's had to run between horses. This horse got bet too heavily first time out into the face of Clubhouse, who was 4 to 5, and not surprisingly, he'd run a 74 buyer in the dirt. Now, listen, maybe Clubhouse will run better today, but he was atrocious last time out. I know he gets Lasix. Perhaps he bled, but I think they're just going to put all these horses on Lasix when they become 3-year-olds.
Yeah,
I don't really,
the whole field's on Lasix today.
I mean, the thing about Clubhouse is he's a turf horse to start out. And he did run well in the dirt that first time, but I'm always suspect of these horses.
Yeah, I think that first dirt race, I don't think he ran that. I think the figure was probably better than the race, if that makes any sense. I don't think he ran that well first time on the dirt. I'm not going to hold the sloppy seal track against him. But with that said, he did not run that well. So if I'm right about the dirt race, the first dirt race, he's going to be one of the favorites in here.
I thought he ran fine first time out in the dirt. I just don't think he ran well last time. I didn't really want to take him. That's the first 5. The late pick 4 after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Anthony and Andy. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, Saratoga Water. Race number 6, a lot of first-time starters in here. Weekend Rags will show the one finishing second in the stake, and kind of second by default. I had originally picked the race 7-3-9. When the 7 scratched, I wanted to pick a first-time starter, so I changed my picks to the 9. It was my third pick because this horse may win, but Weekend Rags is not going to win this race, in my opinion, if there are any decent first-time starters. This horse was second by default. I know it was a stake last time, but it was a very, very weak field behind the winner.
Okay.
I mean, Security Code hasn't run a step since Saratoga, and he's no horse to beat. I don't have a big problem, or she is, excuse me, but she's no bargain.
Okay. I wanted, and this was the race I did want the runners, because I was not overwhelmed by any of the first. I'll tell you one thing. There's an interesting.
No tips in the firsters.
No. You want to know what's funny though? The 8 Debbie Darling. I don't know. We've been doing this for a long time, my friend. She's been bred back. The damn subtle sweetness. It was 2 for 3. She's had 9 foals. They've all been by Frost Giant. Now I know Sunrise Stable stood them.
Well, that's why.
Well, I've never seen all 9. I've never seen that. The horse just
They're determined to make Frost Giant a good sire.
Loki's Vengeance and Caden's Courage, the best 2 out of that one. The other TT Abreu in here, if you will, with Weekend Drag. I put the runners 1-2. They made a couple of equipment changes to Sweet Liberty after she bolted on the turn of the Stallion Series race. So we'll see if those help her at a little bit of a price. She's 8-1 on the morning line. So I put Weekend Rags and Sweet Liberty 1-2 in here. If one of the firsters can
So
run,
you have information that Sweet Liberty has equipment changes.
They
in the
made a
last
couple
horse.
of equipment changes
Tell
to her.
people, not like
Yeah.
just explain.
They made a couple of equipment changes to her. So I put the runners 1-2.
They're not terrible. Either one of them could win.
No, yeah, I mean, I just felt like if one of the firsters beat me, they beat me in here.
Of the firsters, I think the 5 is dangerous. You've got an Into Mischief New York bred for Linda Rice. The dam was fairly good. She ran a figure in the 80s. Most of her numbers were in the 70s, her first foal. Debbie Darling, most of the foals aren't runners, as you mentioned. I'm not running to bet any Frost Giants. Pinstripe Pizzo, I mean, we saw the deposit win with the firster last week. He got lucky to win. The horse who ran third should have won that race, but Winnie did. And it seems like a pretty interesting pedigree, $200,000 for this horse. There were some okay foals in there. The second dam was pretty good. Felt like this horse could be interesting first time out. As I said, I went through the firsters. I preferred the 7, was shipping in. This horse isn't going to run. So the firsters I would want would be the 9 and 5, and I've got them around the number 3 with a 6 4th in here. I won't be shocked if the horses have run 1, but I wonder if there's got to be a firster that's better than those horses. Race number 7. Race number 7, we never see races with fast paces here.
It almost has to be,
It'll
right?
be pretty silly when this pace is slow. But you just never know around here. Jake Rocks won last time. We'll show him. He beat Win for Gold, who came back with a facile win here on Thursday. And, I mean, claimed by Rob Atras. But the thing is, Rob's had this horse before, and he had no success with this horse.
Yeah. No, he's one of the more randoms we've seen around here. If he shows up kind of when he wants to show up. And he did not, again, I know he was he didn't have it to himself last time, but boy, this seems like it has to heat up in here and a lot quicker than it went last time. You really think Jake Rocks is going to go back to back? I mean, that would be a miracle unto itself if this horse ever went back to back.
I didn't pick him, and I'm not picking Ikigai in here, who's supposed to be the speed. I mean, you have to imagine he's a speed.
He's the fastest of the
played
fast.
by Michelle Giangiulio. We'll take a look at his last race, but I look at his last race. I don't know. I'll wait till we get it up.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be the speed, but do you really want the? Do you want the horses he ran against last time? And I've kind of had enough of Cousin Andrew at this point too. You can
skip the replay, guys. I can't hear you, so if you want to pass on that replay, go ahead.
That was just his third dirt race, the only dirt race where he really even showed any kind of form. The first 2 dirt races back in May of 2 years ago and March of last year, he didn't do much running out in California. And last time he kind of woke up, but now it's first time from David Jacobson. And
Well, it's
again,
hard to claim from David.
I'm sorry?
It's hard to claim from David.
Yeah, it's hard to claim from
It is?
David.
Oh, I didn't know it was. Okay. I don't trust that he's really a dirt horse. Maybe we can show the replay of Fast and Furious. I don't know if we're having problems. My earpiece isn't working. There's music blaring in it. I wanted to pick Fast and Furious in here. The problem is he draws the rail and there's plenty of speed. I get that there was a speed edge to this racetrack at Saratoga. This is 3 back. I get all that. But he ran a race that would blow this field off the racetrack. And the reality is, he got eliminated at the start in his next race and had no chance because he's a speed type. And then last time out, he ran against horses that he couldn't beat in a million years. The problem is he draws the rail in a race with a lot of pace. Around here, you never really know, and I'm going to include this horse because he's, to me, the one of the speeds that you want to use in here because he has legitimate excuses in his subsequent 2 starts, and like it or not, he ran that race in Saratoga, and if he were to run that again, he would win here, but it's hard to bet a horse like that drawing the inside with the amount of speed that's signed on in this race because there is a lot of speed signed on in here.
There is. The horse I wanted that I thought could be a little forward at a price was Upper Level, who, for some reason, they kept trying to make him a turf horse. And I know his fastest figure was the turf win, but kind of was left on his own on the front end and had an easy lead and just waltzed home. But you look at his dirt races, and all of his dirt races, I think if you look at his dirt form and his turf form, his dirt races are better than his turf races. So
I don't agree, but okay.
You don't agree?
No. I don't think he ran badly on the dirt, but I don't think they're better than his turf races. No.
Okay. I think his dirt resume is better than his turf resume.
I don't agree with that in any respect whatsoever. But I don't think he's run badly in the dirt. I just don't know how he gets a trip to win here. I don't think he's untalented. So Blinding Light's the favorite. I'm not picking Blinding Light as the favorite. That was the reason I'm not putting him on top, but you did.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted the 2 closers. I put the horse on top that I thought had a little bit more consistent figs. Again, a horse that's run 3 figures, 2 in the high 70s and 1 in the mid 70s on the dirt. I know he's never won on the dirt. Whereas Liam's Fires won 4 times on the dirt.
He'll be 8-5 in here. He's the horse to beat. I don't have a big problem with him. He's fairly obvious.
The horse will be a much bigger
and I think
price.
Glenn Williams Fire will be a bigger price. So I put him on top. Now, he's also a horse I bet a few dollars on at 20-1 last time, and he finished second. But if you're not noticing, the Mira Shishakli's barn has been going very well over the last month. You have not been paying attention. Race number 8. Maybe it's just I'm oversimplifying it, but I just think the Colts are going to go to the lead in this race, and the Colts going to win. I think you've got a horse coming out of the fastest buyer. Is probably the fastest horse. If we have Colts last race, we can show it. And I just think that Dylan's supposed to put her on the lead and supposed to win from there. I don't love her. I doubt we see a Kentucky Oaks winner come out of this field, but I thought she was the right horse in here.
Yep, agreed. I just think she goes to the lead. And I don't, whether you're a Julia Shining fan or not, I want to see what happens with the Demoiselle horses before I endorse them going forward. So I think that gives her an even bigger edge. Now, that's going in. I might be wrong. Maybe the Demoiselle's a better race than it appears. So that I went 2-5 in here. I don't really have much else to say about a Colt. I mean, she stretched out. She won easily. She's supposed to get to the lead in here. And if I'm right about the Demoiselle.
We'll show the Demoiselle. I'm not sure what you're right about. The Demoiselle was an okay race. It wasn't a good race, but it wasn't a terrible race.
Right.
But
my point
the reality is Affirmative Lady ran well in there. She improved stretching out. The problem with the Demoiselle is Gambling Girl. It's hard to see where Gambling Girl got that race. Now, she ran a similar fig when she ran in the Joseph Jimma. So maybe she is okay, or relative there. But Gambling Girl, I thought, ran a little bit better than she did. But then again, you could say Gambling Girl moved a little too soon in there as the race was collapsing at the end. There is a lot of hubbub. It's funny with a horse like Julia Shining. People will make their opinions far too often based on how they feel about a horse before the race. After the race, she was this most heroic horse in the history of racing. The poor dear didn't like the track. She had 800 excuses to beat a maiden by a neck. I think the jury is way, way out on Julia Shining. Just because she has a big pedigree, and she did run well first time out, it doesn't mean she's a good horse. And a lot of things were attributed to her because she was the big dog going in, whereas if it was a bunch of horses you weren't familiar, you just said, that race was kind of an eyesore. 3 of them wired together. A maiden was second. We know Gambling Girl was a kind of slow New York bred, and they just said, I don't want any of those horses going forward. But because Julia Shining has a big pedigree, the Malathaat, half the Malathaat, right? Not a full, right? Or is she a full?
Oh,
They're both
I'm not
Curlins?
sure.
Yeah, she might be. Whatever the case, it doesn't really matter. She's got a big story. Oh, the poor dear, she had the worst. No, Julia Shining may be okay, and maybe it was a mile and 8 second time out. But if you don't think the jury is out on Julia Shining after that race, you're kidding yourself. We'll find out. Listen, no one could have predicted that Nest would turn into the horse she was. One of the reasons Todd Pletcher's a great trainer. And in general, 2-year-olds can improve. and it was her second start at 1 8.
Yeah, we don't
but don't
know.
compare
We don't
her
know.
effort there to the one that Malathot had in her career. Malathot was a much more professional, a much better horse earlier in her career than Julia Shining was.
Sloppy.
And also, Malathot's a pretty steep mountain to climb.
Correct. But for me, it's a sloppy sealed track. You know, at the end of the day, we're still gambling on these horses. I'm going to see if Aniston can
Aniston's just slow. We'll show the race.
can round out the exacta.
She's not going to, but
well,
she's
that-
just
that's
slow.
again, this is
But
gambling.
she's
I know I got it. She's
speed
slow.
figures
You
do
wanna say it
matter,
one
and
more
she's
time?
woefully slow.
Okay.
She's run
She's
against
slow.
horrible horses. I mean, the third place finisher in her last
You
race.
just got done saying
ran
the
a-
2-year-olds
ran a
can get better.
The third place finisher in her last race ran a 36 buyer, a 44 buyer in this race, and came back with a 33 buyer. The fourth place finisher ran a 46 buyer in here and came back with I'd run a 46 and ran a 34. Didn't come back. The rail was good. I thought this horse had a pretty good trip in here. I slipped up the rail, and this horse has run twice and run woefully slow numbers. And it has a name because it was an actress who ran in Friends. So instead of being 20 to 1 like she should be, I mean, she's lucky that Sweetest Princess is in this race.
You know her.
She's the slowest of the two Pletcher horses. Not even
Jennifer
close.
Aniston's father was also an actor on Days of Our Lives.
He's dead.
He passed
Also
away recently.
passed away. Yes, yeah, I'm aware of that.
He may have
she's
passed away the week
You know,
before
she's
his
famous.
wife.
You know, she's in the paper a lot. She likes to get her picture in the paper a lot. Good actress, actually. I was watching a movie I like with her.
I know exactly I know the movie you're going to say.
Okay.
Something Girl.
No, that is a good movie. I like that movie.
I can't remember the name of it.
But no, the one with her friends with money. That's the movie I like. Friends with Money. She's in a lot of good movies. Good actress. Race number 9. The problem with race number 9 is what you're supposed to do is be playing against. Who'd you have at top of this race?
Well, Tasha.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Is you're supposed to be betting against Patient Capital. We'll show that race. The problem is with the scratch of the horse on the rail, there's suddenly a lot less pace in this race, and it's going to help Patient Capital. Why do you prefer Watasha today?
I just want I didn't want Patient. I don't believe. Well, I shouldn't say I don't believe.
Well, you're picking a horse that lost by 7 lengths to her, so why are you picking this one over?
I'm just hoping that.
Well, you got to give us a reason.
Can you give me a second here?
I have.
You're really.
No,
you're-
you don't have a reason.
you're
That's why I'm
nudged up
asking you.
today.
No.
You're nudged up today. I like when this horse broke his maiden. I kind of was not a believer, and then he ran terribly. And then last time he kind of woke up a little bit. I don't believe the Patient Capital race last time. I want Patient Capital to show me again. And now Patient Capital is going to be with Moratitis out. Patient Capital's got to be 6-5 in here.
I'm missing something, right? You still haven't told us why you think this is going to reverse this.
Can I have a minute?
You've had a minute.
I think Money Supply is going to be forward in here today with the blinkers on. So I don't think Patient Capital is going to be as forward in here. And I think there'll be some pace for Watasha today. I think there'll be some pace on it. I also think Prince of Pharaohs will be forward. I don't know if he's fast enough to keep up with Patient Capital and, well, with the one out now. So I thought there'd be a little bit more pace in there than most people thought there would be. So I thought that would help Watasha, and he'll be a little bit of a better price. With that said, if Patient Capital is as good as the Fig last time, he's going to beat these horses, so I wasn't going to let him beat me. I wasn't as against him as you were.
Okay, I think the actual reason to like Watasha in here is I think it's a very fair question to Dylan Davis. Dude, what were you doing last time? This horse has extreme speed relative to the horses he's running against. And for some unknown reason, he was lollygagging back behind a woefully slow pace. So in my opinion, and I've got him third, and I think he could win this race for sure, but in my opinion, the reason you would like Watasha in this race is he got a foolish ride last time out. And now he's supposed to learn from that mistake. And my guess is that Leanna and Bill Mott know this horse is supposed to be more forward, and they're going to tell Dylan, I don't know what you were thinking last time, but you can't sit back 3 lengths behind Patient Capital and allow him to crawl along on the front end and expect to beat him, so you are going to be more forward, because the reality is he's fast enough to be in front in this race if he wants to be. Now, I don't trust him to be after the last ride, but he's got to be closer in here. So I think the reason to think that he can reverse things on Patient Capital is the very foolish ride that he got last time. Now, as far as Money Supply, and I don't like this race. I don't like this race. I have no strong opinion in this race at all. Money Supply, in my opinion, they're making a mistake with him. Money Supply does not want any part of a mile. Watch this race. He didn't finish the mile and 16th at Churchill. I don't want any crap about it being 2 turns versus 1 turn. He didn't finish in this race, and he didn't finish in his race before that. He is not finishing. He wants 6.5 to 7, this guy. He wants no part of a mile. This is his race 2 back behind Win It. His last race, he wasn't finishing at all. He was almost outfinished by Royal Tryst in that race. Royal Tryst ran significantly better than he did. He won his debut at 6 furlongs. He's a deep closer, but he's not a horse that wants to go a mile. He'll be more forward a mile. I frankly would rather take a shot that one of these days 3 Jokers wakes up. I mean, talk about throwing the anchor down. I mean, Eric throws the anchor down like no rider I have ever seen in the history of racing.
I think I tried him last time.
This horse, he was at Home Depot when they were entering the top of the stretch. He's not that slow. I'm not saying he's fast, but he didn't need to be as far back as he was. And now he switches to Gomez, who's been riding well and being more aggressive. And I'm just hoping he gets some more in the game because he has run some races and give him a chance. And I know he can run a fast enough thing. Do I like him? I like him at 12 to 1. I don't like him in this race. I think you're on the right track with Watasha. I think he's very dangerous near. And I'll tell you something else. Complete Agenda. This is a horse that once again is better closing sprinter in 1-turn miles. And I've got him second. You've got him fourth.
I
If you're
probably
going to look and
should've
say
put this horse
he
third.
beat cheaper, when Linda Rice comes back on short rest off a win and runs her horse against better horses, they almost always run better than you expect. Now, may not run well enough to win this race, but to deny that this horse has a chance in here, this horse was cut out to be a good horse.
He got paced to run out last week.
Well, you can
but he ran.
You can say that, but last week's track was very kind to inside speed.
Yes, it was.
And this horse ran around the field. He didn't save ground the
No,
rail
he
and
was
angle
in a
out
fi- he was in a
mid-stretch.
six-path
This
and
horse
just
ran
rolled
around the
past the
field.
field.
So
Yep.
his last race is actually better than it looks. I don't love him, but I don't love anybody in this race. And I think, to me, the principle of this race, because it's the most interesting race in the card, it's not even close, it's the most interesting race in the card, is Patient Capital. He can win, but he's got a 90-something buyer. He's going to be a super short price. And I think one of the things you said earlier is true. Yeah, there is a possibility he's the speed, but he's not that fast.
Not that fast.
And there's other horses that have a chance to be closer. And I think this, I'm not saying they're not flying, but I think it's going to be a more honestly run race
It's
than
not
him just
something
getting
you
lucky
see
on the
off
front
from the
end.
barn, but I wonder if the blinkers on Money Supply, if the plan today is to just, you know what, go.
The plan with him should be to cut him back in distance.
And you might be right, but I wonder if the blinkers, because they put the blinkers on him already and it didn't work, I wonder if the plan today is, you know what, go.
Doesn't have a lot of speed, but you never know.
Got
Maybe
Manny,
Will
you got
Manny's
the
been more
blinkers.
aggressive. Yeah, I will agree with you that the best plan of attack with him would be aggressive.
that.
I think that's a valid point.
The only reason I put him
got to tell
third.
you something. I'm just
Might
sick
be
of this
done with
horse.
him. Yeah, I don't
I
disagree.
think he wants less distance.
You might be right.
You know, he's
But
run.
I'm not going to let a horse. I'm not going to. You know, if I knew that was the plan, I would have given him one more chance on top.
I hope he runs better than I expect him to, but I have no illusions about him at this point, and I would like him with less distance.
3 Jokers will probably win. I bet him last time.
Well, I don't know. I just thought he's a horse that could outrun his odds. It's a very interesting race, the last race. There's a lot of things going on in it, I think. But it doesn't. There's a lot going on in it, but I'm not sure it makes it easier to pick because there's an awful lot of horses that have a chance to win. As I said, even Royal Tryst ran reasonably well in that race. I don't particularly like him, but I didn't think it was impossible in here. It just seems a little cheap. This is a funny race. But I mean, you can say that, but you look back and you say, well, you know, 96 buyer for Patient Capital, he looked a little cheap a little while ago too. The problem with Patient Capital is they sent him to Kentucky. If they never sent him to Kentucky, he might have had a different trajectory. We're done. You're just getting started. Claude's a little busy. I don't want to interrupt Claude. Claude's got a very important
waiting
phone
for
call
that.
going. He's got a very, very important phone call going.
I was waiting for that.
So is he. You can see he's looking over. He was waiting for it too. He's a little embarrassed. You can see he's pretending he's not, but he is. We're done. You went over to Naira Betts.
Now he got up and he grabbed the camera like he's going to do a little something.
Yeah, Claude's fine. Head over to Naira Betts. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match to $200 of your initial deposit. We have the middle pick pick four.
Race 4.
What is it? 2, 3, and 6. Pick 4s today.
No. Race 4 on a 9-race card.
No, we don't. Race 4 is the pick 6. So race 3. Race 4 and a 10-race card, but that's okay. $15.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6. Can't have the 2 wagers in the same race.
Correct. All right. There you go.
$15 bonus. You bet 50 or more at Aqueduct, Tampa, and Oaklawn. Good chance I fall into that rabbit hole. I don't know. Not sure. I'll try. Do my best. And we have America's Day at the Races, 2:30 to 6. FS2, and we are done. Claude's really working that camera right now. He's panning around. We're leaving, Claude. This is it. We're done. Chris Griffin, though, who navigated the subway system apparently with aplomb yesterday, will be coming up with the scratch and changes in just a few minutes. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.